What are some of the most toxic or potentially dangerous ideas/beliefs that have been perpetuated by Redditors? Worshipping celebrities. 10-year-olds don't need to receive death threats because he's never heard of a 55-year-old actor. Edit. I really didn't think I had to say this, but the kid didn't use Reddit. Redditors still banded together to harass and threaten him. He didn't violate the 13+ rule, not that that matters, because you shouldn't send death threats to 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds, or adults for that matter. Can't believe that needed to be said. Witch hunts and doxing are okay if the average Reddit user doesn't like the target. Reddit has a tendency to label people toxic and encourage relationship advice that isn't great. Fucking/r/gang stalking. A subreddit full of mentally ill people who are feeding off each other and creating a feedback loop of terrifying behavior. One of them is going to kill someone, and once again, Reddit will be in the headline. I can't believe the sub hasn't been banned. The absolute worst part is that discussing mental illness is against the rules, so all claims are legitimized. It's insane. r/Amith asshole used to be a great place where you could get an honest opinion on whether or not an action you took makes you an asshole. Sometimes you still might get an honest comment or two, but the amount of times where I've seen YTA responses get removed or downvoted to oblivion, while others are screaming anti-A, they shouldn't have been slightly mean to you if they didn't want to get murdered. Exaggeration, but I'm shocked half the time I look at the comments. Everyone is an armchair psychologist. You post about feeling sad sometimes and inevitably someone is like, that's because you have atypical depression and bipolar disorder or whatever. Love yourself before you love someone else. While the intention is good, some people take that a little bit too far. Having a disability is something to accept. This should however not mean that necessary or QOL surgeries should not be done. Too many people unknowing assimilate into the hive mind. Like, if you start to agree with all the most upvoted posts every day, and get angry/upset when someone makes a valid point against what is clearly right/correct, to Reddit, it's time to back away slowly. Think about the subjects that you have an immense amount of knowledge about. Maybe you've spent your whole life studying it. Now think about all the times you've seen a well-written comment on Reddit with thousands of upvotes that is completely and verifiably wrong. Now think about all the subjects you know nothing about, and all the times you've learned something from a well-written comment with thousands of upvotes. Stereotyping, in general, seems rampant. Many comments and posts seem to believe that individuals are incapable of independent thought and just reflect the race/religion/gender/ethnicity/group/nationality/political party/subreddit/culture they belong to. People are varied even within ideologies. Argue points and issues, not identities. One example of this: a medical doctor posts a well-written comment about the dangers of overprescribing antibiotics. Top comment of the thread: tons of awards. Later a second-year med student posts a similar comment. Still well written, but maybe misses a few key points specifying how and why. Again, top comment of the thread: gilded to the nines. Later a college freshman bio major writes a pretty bad summary of the situation, but it's part of the Reddit hive mind echo chamber, so anyone who bothers to correct him gets misinterpreted and downvoted. and so on until someone literally tells me they read on Reddit that taking antibiotics is dangerous and will lead to a super disease that will wipe out humanity. Come on Reddit. You'll read comments and think, wow, these people know so much about this topic, but then a topic will come up that you have expertise in, and you'll realize that people on this site just pull answers out of their ass with confidence. Also, after enough time here you'll start to realize the average demo is on the young side and has very little life experience. Keep that in mind when you scroll through the comments. Glorification of selfishness. I get the impression a ton of people on this site have difficulty asserting themselves, or recognizing or setting their own boundaries, because Reddit is full of advice geared toward people with these problems. What these posters seem to forget is that not everyone is codependent with self-esteem through the floor. And yet anytime anyone wants to get out of something that someone else wants them to do, Reddit leaps to no is a complete sentence. Put yourself first. Don't jade. In real life though, maintaining healthy relationships requires sometimes doing things you aren't thrilled about for others' sake. The general belief that how an idea is presented is more important than what is being said. I can't count the number of times I've seen bullshit conjecture with clean grammar get upvoted past someone who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about from direct experience but can't spell for SHYT. The Boston Marathon bomber, Reddit started a whole shitstorm by identifying a missing person as one of the bombers. Sunil Tripathi was the innocent person that got mistaken for one of the bombers. There was a lot of fallout and users tracking down family members, friends, and even high-profile news people sending out messages that it could be the bomber. https://www.bbc.co.uk/news/technology-222630020. To an extent, Reddit plays a role in the growing anti-intellectualism. There seems to be a large assumption that this is a website of experts and lengthy replies must be credible. I saw a fellow Redditor describe it perfectly. You finally realize how little most Redditors know when they start talking about a topic you happen to be well researched in. I see this in two places primarily: topics about public education, I am a middle school teacher, and topics such as anti-vaccine. I understand Reddit hates anti-vax for good reason, but it is also stuck in the old anti-vaxxers are just stupid stereotype. Instead of educating and helping the problem, they just poke fun. This unfortunately drives more anxious parents toward anti-vax communities. A little empathy, understanding, and education would do more to combat ideologies such as anti-vaccines than anything Reddit actually does. That people who use Reddit are somehow superior or more in the know about things than people who don't. If you are a mod and you don't agree with something, you can ban them. Reddit is very much guilty until proven innocent. They will jump straight down the throat of any alleged criminal with zero facts, zero context, and demand they be sentences to years behind bars, or worse. Hell, they don't even care if it's the right guy, just that somebody be punished. Remember when Reddit found the Boston bomber and the guy ended up killing himself? I've been downvoted to hell for the simple comment along the lines of, maybe we should wait for all the evidence to come out. We don't know the whole story. Reddit is absolutely bloodthirsty. If your partner does anything at all that you dislike, you should dump them, take them to the police, avoid all other partners in the future, etc., etc. Particularly prevalent in relationships, relationship advice, am I the asshole, and even just AskReddit itself. It's rather appalling, and it seems to be pushed by people who have no idea what being in a relationship is actually like. It's not fucking easy basically. You want to love something and be in a completely committed relationship? Prepare to fight for it, because it is not easy. Some people here don't think cats can have salami. That the optimal solution to personal relationship issues is to end it, cut contact and / or leave town. Social media bad, Reddit good. Emoji bad. Glorifying physical violence / assault because someone said something disrespectful or mean to someone else. Edit. Never been given an award before, thank you to the kind person who saw it fit to do so. That you can't agree to disagree. There are far too many issues, policies, beliefs, and lessons that we absorb as human beings. Short of the other person being rude or hateful, Redditors as a whole don't know how to accept another view contrary to theirs. That pretty much anything is an acceptable receptacle for cum. Threatening to kill a little kid because he / she plays Fortnite. Those people who make introversion out to be an excuse for some pretty terrible antisocial / misanthropic / unacceptable behavior. I don't like loud spaces and can feel overwhelmed by crowds of people. I would pay not to go to a concert. I also genuinely love the people in my life and will always make time for anyone who needs me. In my experience, this is true for everyone, extroverts and introverts alike. That everything works like a dichotomy. The amount of needless contempt that arises just because of an incessant need to turn issues into right vs left or the likes is stupid. I see people back up harmful beliefs just because it's what the majority of their opposition opposes. I'm not saying that I'm above any form of tribalism or that certain issues aren't more attributed to one side than the other, but people just need to stop prioritizing political identity over the argument at hand. I am so fucking tired of this humid bro culture that nerds love to spout. Apparently having emotion about something important to you means you immediately lose the argument. And I notice that 9 times out of 10, the person saying bro is the one raging. Hating an entire nation, or assuming that all its citizens are equally as bad just because a certain individual, or a specific group of people in power who belongs to that nation are jerks. That the only answer to any kind of relationship problem is to immediately break up, even if it's a problem that could easily be solved with a simple conversation between partners. We did it, Reddit. That whenever someone in your life isn't behaving perfectly or 100% supporting of you all the freaking time, you need to cut them out of your life because they are abusive and toxic. I'm curious how many families have been ruined by such destructive advice. I find this to be true everywhere, but the idea that if someone holds a different opinion to you they are automatically stupid. Especially when it comes to politics, many topics are much more intricate than the average Joe realizes, and people are in comments getting absolutely furious instead of having reasonable discussions. Equating introversion with being socially awkward, having social anxiety, or just being downright antisocial. Many Redditors brand themselves as introverts and then use it as an excuse to feel superior over others while refusing to work on their own shitty social skills. Usually the biggest giveaway is that they introduce themselves as an introvert, and want you to be very, very clear about that fact. And hashtag X200B. Also. And hashtag X200B. What is it with so many guys on Reddit who are borderline incels? There is a lot of overlap with them and the above group. The reason girls find you creepy is not because you are broke, short, or not good looking. It's because you're a creep. Fetishization of mental illness. So many posts that reach the front page talking about depression, anxiety, and even suicide. Look, I get it's tough, I've been there myself, but it seems like people on this site are more content to stew in their own misery and blame society for not taking their problems seriously, rather than getting serious help or doing something about it. I mean, how in the hell are other people supposed to take your issues seriously when even you won't? The most toxic thing is Reddit tries to break people apart. Especially family. I have seen way often that the first course of action, and the most popular one, are of separation. Man from wife or vice versa, or rift between parent-child. My argument is not that this is not necessary sometimes. But in most cases I don't think this should be first course of action. A kind of maturity and level-headedness is lost on most Redditors. And this is especially not helpful when the recipient of advice is some 15-year-old girl. That so many Redditors are quick to condemn someone to death over things. For example, if someone driving does something they clearly shouldn't and cause an accident, I hope they died. If they died, good, fuck them, clean the gene pool. It never occurs to people that maybe some people just shouldn't drive, but they're otherwise just fine as people. I got downvoted a while back for telling people not to teach kids to do a rear naked choke hold, i.e. blood choke. If you do it wrong, which is very likely for a kid due to how small their arms are, you will literally kill the person. I taught karate for 7 years and this was something we took very seriously, and yet a few armchair martial artists wrote a long-winded reply that made no sense and got me downvoted to oblivion. Edit. All I'll say is this. The potential danger is there, and a kid who's playing around or in a fight doesn't understand that. In execution it's not worth the risk of someone receiving trauma or dying. Your kids don't need to know how to do a RNC, and if their gym or dojo thinks it's appropriate to teach it, find a new one. Generally, the hate on teenage girls, or anyone who like popular things. It's so idiotic. Teenage girl can't have depression because she's being quirky. Teenage girl likes conventionally popular thing, she's a basic bitch. Teenage girl is above average looking, she's a thought. Teenage girl complains about problem, her problems aren't real and she's asking for attention. Teenage girls cannot possibly have it bad. Everyone believes teenage girls straight up with absolutely no doubt. Eugenics. Upvoting/downvoting. It was supposed to be used for this: upvote what contributes to the conversation, downvote what doesn't. Instead it's used as a like/dislike button, which makes this entire place one giant toilet. Racism directed at Asian people is incredibly acceptable on Reddit. Oh, that's an easy one, and spans every subreddit. The idea that an opposing opinion is wrong. The I am right/this ass clown is clearly uninformed/misinformed attitude is in every sub I've been to. To make matters worse, the dismissal of opposing/dissenting opinion is reinforced by mods. They don't like what you say. That's a ban. This creates an echo chamber, which even further divides. Relationship advice. Do not make brash fucking decisions about your personal life after giving your side of the story to, mostly, a bunch of single people with minimal life experiences to judge your situation with ultimatums. People get more of a thrill knowing they contributed to stopping a relationship than saving one. Believe that children are inherently a pain/unwanted/unloved. Every time someone posts about arguing with a family member/spouse, the top comment is always "you need to cut them out of your life." Imagine cutting every person you have a disagreement with out of your life, you'd have nobody. Also, on Reddit, you only hear one side of the story. It bothers me that random people on Reddit think that they know how to dictate your personal life better than you do. I hope to God nobody actually listens to that advice. That if you spend a lot on your wedding you are an idiot. Some people like big weddings and can afford it, but Reddit loves to poo-poo other people's fun because they enjoy their misery. That standards in America should apply to everywhere else. That everything needs to be disagreed with. For every comment I see, there is always a contrarian devil's advocate response with twice the upvotes. I understand thinking for yourself, but most of the time it seems like people are just doing it to be original. Using the word toxic and using it to describe anyone/anything you don't like or don't agree with.